Emma's hands trembled, not from nerves, but from wild thrill of spotting it, a forgotten pottery wheel buried under junk in a Seattle thrift shop. 45 years of small talk community BBQs, of smiling through invisible panic, and here was her rebellion, crusted with dried clay like battle scars. She ran a finger over its grooves, heart kicking. This wheel wasn't just old, it was waiting. For her. For mess, magic, chance to shape something solid from spin of chaos. Fam, sometimes salvation looks like a $20. Emma's hands trembled, not from nerves, but from wild, unspent energy, like a hummingbird trapped in a too small cage. 45 years of second-guessing every word, every step, every sideways glance had left her palms slick with doubt. But clay didn't judge. It waited, cool and patient, for her to press in. She'd signed up for class on a whim, after one too many community BBQs where she'd fumbled her paper plate like a rookie juggler. Pottery seemed safe, no small talk, just spinning earth between her fingers. Yet that first touch of wet clay startled her. It clung, stubborn as childhood memories of her grandmother's hands shaping dough, flour-dusting kitchen like forgotten dreams. Now, weeks later, her will hummed a steady rhythm, a rebellion against static in her mind. Centering clay became a metaphor she could finally laugh. Of course her life needed that. Each wobble mirrored her own clumsy missteps, but here, collapsing a vase just meant starting over. No audience, no pitted smiles. Then came exhibition flyer, bold letters screaming show your work. Her stomach dropped like a dropped mug. But as she ran a thumb over her latest piece, a lopsided bowl with a thumbprint ridge, honest as a laugh line, something shifted. Fear, she realized, was just another kind of clay. Mold it or let it harden. On opening night, she arrived early, gripping her creation like a life raft. Strangers milled, but their eyes slid past her, landing on bowls, cups, quiet rebellion of a woman who'd spun anxiety into something solid. And when someone reached for her piece, hers, she didn't flinch. She exhaled. Turns out, courage wasn't a grand gesture. Emma's hands trembled, not from nerves, but from wild excitement as clay spun beneath her palms. 45 years of avoiding crowds, of ducking eye contact. Seattle's community BBQs, melted into that spinning wheel. First attempts were lopsided, sure. One bowl collapsed like a deflated balloon, sending her into giggles. But each wobble felt like progress, not failure. Then came Margot, a septuagenarian with paint-splattered overalls and a laugh like wind chimes. She sidled up one evening, nudging Emma's elbow with a knowing grin. Pressure's just gravity's way of hugging ya, fam. No formal mentorship, just shared silence and occasional snorts over botched handles. Margot's crew, a ragtag bunch of retirees and single moms, folded she in like she'd always belonged. Months passed. Fingers once clumsy learned to coax curves from stubborn clay. Emma's pieces grew bolder, rougher edges but alive with motion. That will became her anchor, its steady hum drowning out old whispers of not enough. When flyers for annual pottery pop-up appeared, Margot slapped one on Emma's workstation without a word. Panic flared, strangers judging her work. But then she remembered, clay didn't care about perfect. It only asked for honesty. Day of exhibit, creator arrived early, arranging mugs with thumbprints still visible in their glaze. A woman paused, tracing one ridge. Feels like holding a heartbeat, she murmured. Emma's chest tightened. Not with fear, but something warmer, brighter. By sunset, half her pieces had sold. No grand reveal, no spotlight, just quiet nods between creators, kind that said me too. Walking home, Emma caught her reflection in a shop window, shoulders loose, smile unforced. Clay had given her more than craft, it handed back pieces of herself she'd buried years ago. And that, she decided, was worth every messy, glorious spin. Emma's hands trembled, not from nerves, but from wild, stubborn energy. 45 years of second-guessing had left grooves in her palms, but clay didn't judge. It just waited. Seattle's drizzle blurred studio windows as she hunched over a spinning wheel, fingers coaxing form from mud. First attempts collapsed, slumping like bad soufflés. She snorted. Middle-aged women weren't supposed to snort, but here she was, covered in muck, grinning. Each failure felt lighter than last. Community BBQs had once been her personal hell. Small talk? No thanks. But pottery demanded focus, not chatter. Centering clay mirrored centering herself, pushed too hard, and everything wobbled. Too soft, and it spiraled away. She learned to press just right. News of a local exhibition hit like a rogue wave. Submitting work meant exposure, but hiding felt worse. She chose a piece with a deliberate thumbprint, her rebellion against perfection. Packing it up, she imagined it shattering en route. Wouldn't that be a metaphor? Opening night buzzed with strangers. Woman hovered near her vase, eavesdropping. Love texture, someone murmured. Her chest tightened. Validation was a foreign country, and she hadn't packed a phrasebook. But then, laughter. A toddler poked her lopsided bowl, declaring it cool. Emma exhaled. Maybe art wasn't about applause. Maybe it was about showing up, cracks and all. Back well next morning, she threw another lump down. This one would be uglier. Bolder. Hers. Clay spun, her fight etched into every groove. Emma's hands trembled, not from nerves, but from wild, unshakable focus as clay spun beneath her palms. 45 years of second-guessing melted into motion, her fingers pressing, shaping, claiming space on that will like she'd never dared before. Seattle's gray skies couldn't dim fire in her chest. This wasn't just pottery, it was rebellion. Community center BBQs buzzed with chatter, but woman barely noticed. Her booth stood front and center, pieces arranged like battle trophies, bowls with jagged edges, vases leaning defiantly off-kilter. A smirk tugged her lips. Perfection was overrated. Let folks gawk her quirky mugs, their handles just a tad lopsided. Then she appeared, Margot, neighborhood skeptic, arms crossed, lips pursed. Margot had scoffed for weeks. Pottery for anxiety? Please. But now, her gaze snagged on Emma's centerpiece, a colossal, spiral platter, glazed in stormy blues, its surface etched with tiny, deliberate cracks. You made that? Margot's voice wavered. Woman wiped clay-dusted hands on her apron. Yep. Messy process. A beat. Kinda like life. Someone snapped a photo. Flash. Then another. Phones lifted, murmurs swelled. A teen blurted, "That's sick." And crowd erupted. Margot's scoff crumpled into stunned silence. Emma's chest tightened, but not with fear. Pride, hot and bright, surged through her. Later, as fam clustered around her pieces, woman caught her reflection in a glossy vase. Streaked with mud, hair frizzing in humidity, she looked alive. This is my start. Will had been her anchor, now it was her launch pad. And that viral shot of Margot gaping her platter? Just icing on cake. Emma grinned, flicking a stray speck of clay off her sleeve. Who knew rebellion could be so fun? Emma's hands trembled, not from nerves, but from wild, uncontainable energy. Clay spun beneath her fingers, alive with possibility. What began as a shaky attempt to quiet her mind had become a revolution. That first wobbly bowl? Now a fleet of elegant mugs lined her shelves, each imperfection a badge of courage. Seattle's gray skies couldn't dampen her spark. She hosted backyard BBQs where neighbors, once strangers, dug into shared platters with hands still dusted in ceramic glaze. Laughter bubbled louder than kiln vents. Folks left with full bellies and fistfuls of wonky pinch pots, their own anxieties softened by rhythm of creation. When Community Center proposed a pottery exhibition, Emma didn't hesitate. Her display? A clay wool centerpiece, its surface etched with fingerprints from every student she'd guided. Proof that vulnerability, spun just right, could hold weight. Opening night, a silver-haired woman lingered by a lopsided vase. Reminds me of my first grandkid's art, she chuckled. Emma grinned. Then it's yours. No longer just a hobby, pottery became her love language, throwing insecurities into fire, pulling out something sturdy enough to share. Even her odd habit of humming 80s power ballads while trimming rims caught on. Hey, if Whitney Houston fuels focus, who's judging? Now? She's unofficial mayor of Mudville, rallying her fam to build not just bowls, but belonging. Because creativity isn't solitary. It's elbows deep in clay, passing sponge, nodding as another soul finds calm in spin. Shape your fear. Bake it bold. Watch what sticks.